suppose so. Well, that I wouldn't say that's strictly speaking. No, no, that's wrong. I'm bored.
You should get us some theists.
I can't find atheists. God, they're all in bed.
Someone get God in here, I'll debate him.
I mean, if you find God, then that's sort of, there's no point in debating because at that point the debate's been solved.
Well, I'll argue him out of I'll argue God out of existence.
Oh yeah, like that one book by what's his name?
Yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes, that one. Man, that's such a excellent fucking book. That's some good shit.
I want to talk to that theist that you were talking to, Jack.
Oh, I'm sure you can. He was in here today, I think.
I want to smash him.
Dovahkiin, nalogsin los faden.
Jack,
Yeah.
would you enjoy the irony of hitting evolution false in the face with a 25-pound Bible?
I guess so.
Why is that ironic?
I guess it's not really irony. Well, maybe it
What-
is.
Why? And what? Why is it 25 pounds? Jack couldn't swing a 25-pound Bible.
Why? I'm
Well,
a
that's-
weightlifter.
Yeah, but you're also a Jew.
Did you say you're a lifter, Jack?
I am.
I don't know why that's so funny.
You know the saying, Christians beating people in the head with a Bible?
Oh, yeah. I don't think lifting is sufficient to make you a lifter, Jack.
That's like saying raping isn't sufficient to make you a rapist.
It's true.
Well, that was the argument I was having with Ocean that time about hypocrisy.
Oh god.
With
Because
Ocean,
Ocean
about
was
what?
about hypocrisy. You know that time that I kicked Ocean out of his chat like 3 times? I
don't know
powder
why you
kegged on Ocean.
Oh fuck! I wish I had the timestamp for that.
Well, Joe might have it.
It reminds me of all the humiliation links I had for Matt Bell that don't exist anymore because of MK.
Oh, God. So frustrating.
The one where you and Hal talk about consequentialism with him.
Oh, no, that was amazing.
Oh fuck!
Poor Matt Bell. even godless. I mean, that video that she made of him is as good as anything we ever did.
Yeah.
He got punked by a noob.
She's not a noob, but she's not a black belt either. But she was, she totally, and she's afraid of Matt Bell. She totally destroyed him.
I fucking hate how Godless underestimates herself.
I know. It's very annoying. Like, she doesn't understand. Well, we should figure out which arguments she's good at running. I mean, the Pandora's box is probably her best, right?
I'm just saying, I know that if she, I don't want to say that there's, I don't want to say this tautologically, but I'm going to anyway. You just have to infer the meaning. Don't be a douchebag. If she took the time to, to really think about the argument, I think that she could understand the rule following argument,
Oh yeah, she could understand it.
and I want her to do that because I remember what it's like not to understand the rule following argument,
Mm-hmm. I didn't understand it for years. It's like, what the hell are they talking about? I just
I
couldn't
remember
get it at all.
Yeah, I know. I was the same way. I was the same way when I think Sam Butler was lying about getting it because I didn't think Sam Butler was all that better than me at the time. But I remember I was in a hangout with you and Sam Butler, and you were trying to explain it to me, and I was just like, "What the fuck?" And then Vic was no fucking help because Vic was just like, "It's just bluefish and blowfish," right?
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Whatever happened to fish pasta?
Not sure. I think he's still at Rutgers.
You said he was really good, Jack.
Oh, fish pasta is
He's the best troll
except
ever.
except for Randy on, and I guess Reyes.
He's the best troll ever. Like in Pal Talk, he was arguing that Jesus's beard is necessary.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Jesus' beard was necessary?
Yeah.
How did the argument go?
He said, well, see, he used the reason why he argued it was to say that the laws of logic could exist in every possible world, but contingent upon God's existence. So he was trying to argue that they could exist necessary.
Sorry, Jack.
Right?
I don't know why you keep cutting out, but you do.
Yeah,
That's weird.
near the end of when you're talking and near the beginning, it's probably just the pickup on your mic or something.
Oh, that's weird. Well, anyway, he
Maybe
was
do
arguing.
like a little hum before you start.
he was arguing that the laws of logic exist in all possible worlds, but they're not necessary. They're contingent upon God's existence. And so then he gave the analogy of Jesus's beard. He said, you couldn't have Jesus's beard without Jesus. But Jesus exists in every possible world, and so therefore Jesus's beard exists in every possible world. And so then Nebula came up with some, what about possible worlds in which there's no spatial extension, And I forget, he had some crazy response that had to do with the movie Avatar. I can't remember. It was hilarious. It was so funny. And then he had this other time he was trolling. He was saying that he was a biblical he said he was a biblical literalist, but not an inerrantist. And he said like if God said if God left a note saying, like a shopping list for you, and it said onions instead of tomatoes, right? And you were supposed to, he actually wanted you to get tomatoes. It was like he could absentmindedly write onions instead of tomatoes, right? But it would still be literal, but it wouldn't be inerrant. and so he
Right.
thought that was the correct way to read the Bible. That it was literally everything was meant literally. There was nothing figurative in the Bible, but that didn't mean that everything in the Bible was true, because God might have been absent-minded and put down the wrong word instead, instead of another, something like that. It was just crazy.
So, would God putting the serpent in the garden, was that an instance of God being absent-minded?
I don't know. I have to ask him.
You can't be absent-minded with your intention when you're writing text, right? So
Right. I guess that's true on Bill Gromy's view. Wouldn't have been that.
so yeah, you couldn't be if God wrote onions.
It actually means
God was
tomatoes. Yeah, it means.
yeah.
That's interesting. So I'm just scrolling through some of the groups here, and there's this one question that somebody posted. I don't know if you guys want to try answering it, maybe just for something fun to do.
In the Bible?
I guess is probably what they.
I don't know. Hal probably knows.
I'm gonna keep scrolling, but.
What was the view that was contrary to the intentionalist view that Alex Malpass was talking about?
I think it's called textualism.
Doesn't there seem something? There does seem something intuitive about that position, though, doesn't there?
Yeah.
What is it?
What is it that's intuitive about it?
Uh-huh.
It just seems like the meaning is somehow autonomous, right?
Well, it seems that language couldn't get its meaning in the first place if it weren't for our intention. So how could the meaning of like a writing be like somehow independent of the intentions of the author?
Well, that's what sort of shows that the intuition is wrong.
I don't know if this is real or not. Have you guys seen this before?
What is it?
Okay, apparently it's from a Christian academy, which makes sense, but it's basically a quiz.
I thought you were looking at your junk, man.
Well, the world was created 5 minutes ago with all the appearance of age.
Exactly.
Those trolls from the theology group, I have to admit, they had some pretty hilarious memes.
Yeah.
On Pal Talk, there was some Christian that said, God could have created a universe a few thousand years ago, but when he created it billions of years old.
Here's another question a theist asked. Maybe I can just find theist questions on Facebook. This is one that somebody asked in Atheists versus Christians Debate Central. I think what you can derive from that is that they meant, how do I become an atheist?
So, how 5 is equal to billions? Is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, I see.
There's another Christian in there that says 1 is the first number. And then you can ask, like, what about 0.5? And he'll say, that's not a number.
1 is the only number?
No, it's the first number.
Oh, the first number.
He says this because he thinks it somehow proves the existence of God, but I forgot how his reasoning went.
Interesting. There's always something that where they think
Scare quotes around reasoning.
What do you call it?
Scare quotes around reasoning.
Oh, okay. The way I was just gonna describe it is that there's always like these complex answers to make things fit a narrative. Basically, I find.
Well, a common Christian criticism from like evangelical Christians against the atheists is that the atheists have no reason to be good people, right? Because they don't have some like judge watching over them that will ultimately hold them accountable for what they do. And then I say, well, what you're describing is you not being a moral person, right? It's someone's only virtuous when they do what's good because it's good, and they avoid evil because it is evil. For example, if you run a register at a store, and the only reason that you don't steal from a till is that you know everything's being recorded and you'll be punished for doing it, then you're not acting virtuously. You would only be acting virtuously if you wouldn't steal the money, even if you believe that you wouldn't get caught.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, this one's a good one. Here's a good question.
Well, it'd be strange to call atheist a religion. I suppose the person meant could atheism
Yeah.
be a religion? But someone can be an atheist and be religious, right? Like some Buddhists, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
But atheism is just the lack or disbelief in the existence of God. There's no like tenets or dogma or anything like that, and that's what would disqualify, bare atheism from being a religion. In regards to how someone can become an atheist, a good way of doing that, I think, is to look into the issue of how evidence works, stuff like that, and they'll realize there actually isn't any, evidence for the existence of God.
Yeah. Oh man. Welcome to the atheist hive mind, where everybody is a leftist, a vegan, and agrees only on the same thing. If failed to prove a political point, blame Christianity for their actions in the Dark Ages. Oh God. Are we still looking for people? Is this pretty much it?
This is what we're condemned to.
No, atheist echo chamber, no.
Oh no.
Odin, god of war, cooler than Jesus.
I think it's pretty unlikely that I could argue. That's likely that when I argue with a given theist, I can argue them out of their theism. If the person's being honest in the discussion, my intent is to show that it's not that basically it's a basic assumption of theirs that God exists. It's not something that's actually based on evidence or good arguments or anything.
What do you think of this statement? I'm gonna post something up.
You made rules against threats and personal attacks. This room isn't going to be any fun.
Yeah. Things got a little hairy earlier.
Well, fuck, I'm going to have to come over there and kick your ass because you're nothing but a piece of shit.
Whoa!
Whoa.
The edge.
Well, I do think there's some similarity between the religion of the religious people and a lot of the atheists, what they're doing with the sciences. Not that science is a religion or anything, but I think that a lot of times science serves a lot of the same functions for the atheist that religion serves for the religious person, right? Because I think that when things don't make sense, when things seem to happen for no rhyme or reason or whatever, right? The world can seem like a very scary place, and so a lot of religious people go to religion for answers. You're like, well, of course, now I know why, given God and what the Bible says, I understand, why the stuff that happens.
Yes, and your
happens.
purpose and
Right, and I think atheists do the same thing with science a lot of times.
use it to find answers to questions, I guess.
It's to find answers in order to, alleviate fear of the unknown or whatever.
Yeah. Atheism.
What do you think prompted that Gary Edwards post by Sam, Jack?
How would I know?
I don't know. It's just Gary Edwards is such a fucking blowhard, right?
It's off the scale.
I don't know how the people I don't already know in here, the atheists, are. The reason I mentioned what I did is, well, one, because of the image that was just posted in the text, and also that I most commonly hear from other atheists that the reason they're interested in science, right, because they're virtuously committed to knowing the truth or something like that. But when I call some of their beliefs in question, they just get extremely angry at me, right? Which isn't consistent with their
What they're saying.
with what they're saying, right?
I think for most people, it's uncomfortable to have your beliefs questioned.
Right, I agree, and I think that one of the reasons for that is a lot of times, people's beliefs are attacked to like the way they perceive themselves, right?
Yeah.
That everybody wants to think that they're above average intelligence and have things more or less figured out, whatever. So when you call some of their beliefs into question, then it's perceived as attack on their person.
Yeah, it's true. Is there anything else? We squeezed another 40, 50 minutes out tonight, so it's not bad.
Oh, is this streaming?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
we've been,
no.
sorry, we've been streaming again for 25 minutes or so. I think it also kind of looks like it's not doing so hot.
I hope Gary Edwards doesn't follow this channel because I called him a blowhard, and I'm actually trying to set up a debate with him.
Well,
I'll try to find it and bleep it.
well, we don't have anything interesting going on right now, and it's late.
Yeah, exactly. And most of my videos are like 2 hours long. Most people aren't gonna watch through all that, but I encourage them to. Don't forget to smash that like button. Well, yeah, I think this is pretty much. This is the part that sucks about an echo chamber. Ish. I'm sure there's lots of things that atheists disagree on.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm sure we can find stuff that we disagree on.
Well, there's got to be something.
Small town atheist, are you like a naturalist or a physicalist or anything like that?
What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, physicalism is the idea that physicalism and naturalism is about the objective nature of stuff that exists in the world, like how it is independently of the way we happen to experience it. And the physicalists want to say that, you know, the way everything that exists is its objective nature is something that can be explained, is explainable in terms of physics. And naturalism is a little bit more broader, and they say it's explainable in terms of the natural sciences. So it's physics and also, you know, biology, stuff like that.
Oh, I don't know. I would say probably a little bit of both. Not like
Well, the physicalists want to say like all this biological stuff is, you know, reducible to physics, and the naturalist would probably disagree.
I would probably say I lean more towards the physical. Um, the natural seems the way you're describing it almost seems more like you're leaving more up to things that you can't prove.
Yeah, I find that like what you're saying, I see. I think it's very common um, amongst atheists, but there's going to be issues that aren't resolvable using the sciences, right? Like an example of this is like whether or not there is an external world, you know, a world that exists independently of us experiencing it, right? Because when scientists do science, they're appealing to experience, right? They have a hypothesis or, you know, a theory, and the theory makes these theories make predictions, and what they predict is what you're going to experience in the future.
Yeah.
right? But that doesn't tell you nothing in that process tells you, whether there is just our minds with experiences, or if there's also like an objective world that exists independently of us.
So basically unperceived. Is that what you mean, or?
Well, if the external world exists, then presumably we would be perceiving the world, right? There's some objective thing in the world that I'm perceiving as being a chair,
Yeah.
as an example.
As
But
opposed to everything is kind of like thoughts.
right, like thoughts and experience and stuff like that.
And then that's all that there is, basically. That it's
Yeah,
all
yeah. That view that is all there is called subjective idealism.
subjective idealism. Um, and like solipsism, isn't that kind of similar?
Yeah, it's similar. The way they're different is that the solipsists think that you know all exists is their mind, right? There's not even other minds that have experiences.
Okay, because that's what I kind of thought that. Okay. So basically, that's kind of like The Secret, isn't it? Where like the world is a product of our wishes and our feelings and thoughts.
I don't know what it is that you're referring to.
Oh, well, I watched this movie when I was younger. It's called "What the Bleep Do We Know," and it's based on kind of the same arguments as in The Secret, where your thoughts affect the universe in a way that gets you what you want. Basically, you're creating the reality by thinking it.
Well, if I were creating reality, I would be rich right now.
And they would say the reason is because you doubt that it is that way or something. Like there's basically
Just because you can,
what we have is a product of what we want to the extreme,
just because you create reality doesn't mean you're any fucking good at it, Hal.
Well, that's true.
right? So all the doubts and fears and that you have, like you say, "Well, I'd be rich right now," but in the back of your mind, you think it's bullshit. So maybe that's what's stopping you. You know what I mean? That's what they would say.
Yeah.
Jack, so I found the thread that Sam was talking about. You gotta see this. Gary Edwards really is being a fucking blowhard, really hard in this one. So, he says here,
Still alive.
he posted. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay. I don't really care. Um, he says here, you just bleep out this whole fucking section. Who gives a
Okay.
fuck? Uh, he says on his Facebook page, "You'll only ever be a second-rate scientist without some grasp of philosophy of science." That's the status he posted. And then Sam asked the question, "How are you determining what is quote unquote second rate and what isn't?" And then Gary said, "Listen to this answer: by how good they are at doing the job of science." And then Sam was like, "I was asking for a more specific answer." And then he said, "Do you talk to philosophers much?" Implying that philosophers just give general answers, don't give specific answers. And then Sam's response is brilliant. He says, "Yes, which is why I'm surprised I have to clarify my question." And then Gary said, "If you know the drill, you know the correct response was, and what is the job of science?" And Sam responded, because he made a spelling mistake. He said, "Lest we forget that spelling and grammar are important. But seriously, pedantry aside, could you please try to be a bit more specific? Because you answered with the equivalent of, I judge them by how they are doing their job when I ask the equivalent of how do you judge their job performance? And the last thing, this is what Gary said, the last thing that he said is, one of the reasons philosophers start with generalities and move towards specifics is often to highlight hidden differences. There are, for example, non-telic determinations of scientific quality, determinations cast in terms of obligations or outcomes alone. So in giving the answer I did, I was in fact saying something informative in ruling those options out. My answer was more specific with regards to a philosophical issue than you realized. Can you believe that shit?
Yeah, he was saying that he can judge it by judging it. That's informative.
Yeah. So Sam is completely fucking justified in being upset with that asshole. It seems like he's never really been shut down, right?
I came the closest.
I want to make him rage quit. I want to make him rage quit and then stick my dick down Godless's throat.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't bleep this shit live.
That's okay. I've said that live a number of times. I do it all the time, so.
Well, I'm personally pretty tired. I think I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for coming out, guys. For everybody watching now, in the corner you'll see my face. Don't forget to hit subscribe, smash that like button, comment, send us some questions. We'll answer them on a future broadcast. And also, click on the link to the video that you see above.